right, kid.
Tough. I wonder why they call her M7.
I don't know. I expect they'll give her a proper name when she's tested.
They could call her anything they liked, and I'd still hate the sight of her. If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be cooped up here like a lot of chickens. One good thing, I've been let out for a week tomorrow.
Lucky blighter.
Yep. The only thing I'll miss is old Bluebell here. Where'd I go?
I'm sorry. I understand your point of view perfectly. We must play for safety. We mustn't take any risks. Although this was supposed to be an experimental station.
Good evening, Professor. Good evening, sir. We were just saying what a pretty sight she makes. You must be proud of her. You going aboard for your usual look round, sir?
Not tonight.
Well, we'll be getting along. Good night, gentlemen.
Good night. Good night.
He's right. She does make a pretty sight.
Yes, doesn't she? I don't know why you don't put her under glass in a museum. She'd look even prettier.
You know, Michael, for a fairly intelligent man, you can almost behave like a spoiled child at times. And now, just because I won't let you play with your new toy until I think she's ready...
She is ready.
Yes, she's ready to be tested from the ground. The results so far are encouraging. But phase 2 is a different thing. We've so little information about the behavior of any aircraft at such a heightened speed. Until I'm satisfied with ground control, I shan't let you or anyone else take her up.
Nobody else could.
What?
Oh, I don't mean just to pilot her. Brian Jackson could do that. But things I'm planning for the future need new knowledge, which I can only get by flying M7 myself. Now, give me one good reason why I shouldn't take her up.
Look, Michael, if we test M7 with ground control and something goes wrong, we lose the aircraft. But if I let you take her up, we may lose you as well. And all your ideas for the next project.
But with a pilot, the risk is halved. And without a pilot, the test is virtually useless.
Yes, but with ground control, if it...
Oh, I know. If it crashed, we could build another and another. By that time, we might as well have built a bicycle. I must take her up now.
My dear Michael, for the last half hour, you've been giving me the best possible reason why you shouldn't. You've been telling me, with your usual modesty, that you're unique and indispensable. Unfortunately, I agree with you.
So you keep me in a nice, strong net. One day you'll find that all you've got in it is an obsolete machine and a fossilized scientist.
Sorry you're taking it like this, Heathley, but that is my decision as director. Well, you'd better get home. You'll be late for your party. I'll come along as soon as I can.
Hanging on the wall, 7 green bottles hanging on the wall, and if 1 green bottle should accidentally fall, there'd be 6 green bottles hanging on the wall. 6 green bottles hanging on the wall, 6 green bottles hanging on the wall, and if 1 green bottle should accidentally fall, there'd be 5 green bottles hanging on the wall, 5 green bottles hanging on the wall.
Darling, you are naughty, leaving me alone with all your brood.
They always try so abnormally hard to be normal, don't they?
You make them work too hard. They've forgotten how to enjoy themselves. They've all been standing round in little corners talking shop. Just as I was getting absolutely desperate, Dennis suggested a sing-song of all things, and they jumped at it.
All right now, ladies and gentlemen, more feeling, more brio. This is a party, not a funeral.
What's the matter?
Now, enjoy yourselves.
You're worried.
No, I'm not.
You are. Tell me.
It's just something to do with the job.
Job. I see.
Very softly. Piano.
2 green bottles hanging on the wall, 2 green bottles hanging on the wall, and if 1 green bottle should accidentally fall, there'll be 1 green bottle hanging on the wall.
Pianissimo.
1 green bottle hanging on the wall, 1 green bottle hanging on the wall, and if 1 green bottle should accidentally fall, no green bottles hanging on the wall.
And if 1 green bottle should accidentally fall, there'll be no. Just what I was saying, wasn't it? Oh, nonsense.
Brian, can I have a word with you? Excuse us, Ken.
Help yourself to a drink, Dennis.
Yes, I will.
I see you've already met my mother-in-law.
Yes, thank you. As a matter of fact, I know all about her.
I hope not.
Well, Seagram has your whole history in his security file.
Yes, ma'am, right down to the last detail.
What a frightening thought. I'm surprised you let me in here at all.
Do you know that I can't go into Flimby and buy a lipstick without his knowing the actual colour?
Well, since you know so much, Major Seagram, perhaps you could explain something that puzzles me. Why have I been hearing so many foreign accents here this evening? I know Professor Carrington's English. I mean, you are, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yes. But you're American.
No, ma'am, I'm just a simple Canadian.
No, not as simple as he makes out.
And Mademoiselle Cartier over there is French, and Mr. charming pianist.
Alex Leon, Mamma.
Yes, darling, what's he?
German, Mrs. Heathcliff. Or at least they used to be. And Ferguson over there is a Scottish nationalist.
And the doctor here, he's a wild Irishman.
No, Bord is a citizen of the world, Mrs. Heathcliff.
Not at all. All I do is try and stop people becoming citizens of the next world.
Anyway, they all make a pretty good team, which is the main thing. Well, I just looked in to see how you were all...
Relaxing to order.
Yes, the order's been most successfully carried out, thanks to you. You've been a great help, Lydia. Bord... Oh, excuse me, Mrs. Heathcliff.
Yes?
Bord, there's just one thing I wanted to ask you.
You see, darling, it's absolutely hopeless. We shall have to start talking about hats and housekeeping. Alex, just go and console Carolyn.
I'd much rather console you.
Thank you. I don't need consoling.
You're quite sure?
Quite.
Pity.
Don't be so ridiculous. Carolyn?
I tell you, Brian, it's like butting your head against a brick wall. Like all these present-day officials, he's afraid of taking the slightest risk.
You mean he's afraid of risking you? You ought to feel flattered.
Oh, rubbish. I couldn't have built M7 without your help and the rest of the team. The point is, she's ready for a piloted test.
Heathcliff seems a bit on edge tonight.
Yes. Yes, it's really what I wanted to speak to you about.
Oh?
Well, you're a particular friend of his and a doctor, and it seems to me that he's almost dangerously overstrained.
Oh, I don't think it's as bad as that. He's naturally a bit keyed up over the prospect of taking M7 up at last.
He's not going to take her up.
What?
I told him just now I wouldn't allow a piloted test yet.
But why? I mean, surely Heathcliff knows best.
In this case, I think I know best, Bord.
I'm sorry. I suppose it's because we're all so enthusiastic about the project.
Yes, naturally, I know that. You see, it's no good my talking to him at the moment. I just get on his nerves. He must understand that the flight will be ground controlled. He can't fly it himself yet. At least not while I'm in charge. Well, do what you can. There's a good chap.
I will, sir.
Thanks. Goodbye, Dennis.
He's not going to take her out. Not while I'm in charge. Not while I'm in charge.
What a horrible noise.
They're testing one of the engines for M7. Your son's invention.
I still think it's horrible. Don't you, Dr. Bord?
Not horrible, Mrs. Heathcliff. Powerful.
Dennis, give me a moment, please, will you?
Excuse me.
I'm afraid you said the wrong thing, ma'am. The doctor's one of your son's research team. M7 is their baby, and no one is allowed to criticize him.
I see. What's Dr. Bord's particular job here?
Oh, he designs the pressure suits.
What are they? Or is that a security secret?
Oh, no. You see, when you get to these very high altitudes, the pressure drops to practically nothing. And consequently, unless you're wearing one of these suits, well, you're dead.
Hello, Washington. Washington, D.C. This is London, Whitehall. Priority call. Hello, Washington.
Hello? Professor Adams? Good evening, it's Craddock here. I'm going to use my security line. Will you do the same?
Good afternoon, Sir Charles. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. I thought you'd like to hear the news. I just had the director of Port Amberley on the phone. The Phase 1 trials on M7 are completed.
That's grand. Has she flown yet?
No.
You must all be feeling pretty impatient.
Yes, naturally.
So am I. Well, congratulations, Sir Charles, and I hope you'll ask Carrington to pass him along to your team down at Port Amberley. Especially Heathcliff.
I will. We shall be in touch.
Michael, dear, you're talking shop. You know, Brian should be free to enjoy himself tonight.
I am enjoying myself, Lydia, but free in Port Amberley?
Well, you should be tomorrow. You haven't forgotten that Seagram and the director have agreed that we can play golf tomorrow.
I can see old Sam Seagram putting in overtime to ensure that none of us gets lost.
You said you could spare me from my work, Professor.
Yes, of course.
I'll come and watch. May I?
You may.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Caroline, but I have a job for Brian in the morning.
Where are you going?
To my office.
Michael.
I'm sorry, darling. I've got a job to do. You might call in later, Brian.
Major Seagram here, sir.
Oh, Sam?
Excuse me.
Of course.
The director's had a bad accident, sir. They're taking him to the sick bay.
Well?
There's still just a chance, sir. The doctor's giving her a column injection.
He's not going to take her out. Not while I'm in charge. Not while I'm in charge. Not while I'm in charge.
Sam. His heart didn't respond to the injection.
What an end for a man like that. A stupid, wasteful end.
Well, thank you for coming, Dennis. I'm sure you did everything possible. Tell me, were you fond of Carrington?
No, not exactly fond. We had too little in common. But I respected him.
It's funny. With me, it was exactly the opposite. I was very fond of him. But he represented everything I've always been fighting against. We had another row tonight. Pity.
Yes, I know. He told me he'd refused to let you take M7 up yourself. I imagine that's what the row was about.
Yes, it was. That's why I shall feel rather guilty. Perhaps it's illogical, but I shall feel I'm taking an unfair advantage of him.
You mean you're going to take her up in spite of what he said?
Yes.
Oh, hello, Brian.
Oh, come in, Brian. I wanted to speak to you.
Well, I'll leave you both. Good night.
Good night, Dennis, and thank you very much.
Good night, Brian.
Good night.
Get Mr. Charles Craddock, will you? Right.
I heard what you were saying. Are you really going to take her up?
Yes?
Michael, you can't do it.
Why? Because Carrington's dead?
Well, yes.
Now, look, Brian, if he was wrong while he was alive, his being dead won't make him right. Unless Sir Charles actually forbids it, I shall go ahead with my plans. I'm waiting to speak to him now.
Michael, I hate saying this. I haven't often disagreed with you before, not on any important issues anyway. But I'm certain that Carrington was right.
You think M7 should be controlled from the ground with no one aboard?
For the present, yes.
And if the control breaks down?
Then we only lose the machine.
Yes, and years of work. You know how long it'd take to build another machine, yet you suggest we should risk losing her just so the pilots can be safe.
I wasn't just thinking of myself, Michael, or even you. I was thinking of the project as a whole.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Brian, but it's obvious. If there's a pilot aboard and the ground control fails, he can take over. Or if the pilot has trouble, he can switch to ground control. There's double insurance. I may appear to be pig-headed, but over this I know I'm right. And you must realize how important it is to get ahead fast.
Yes, Michael, of course I do, but...
With ground control, we shall only learn a fraction of what we want to know about M7's behavior at very high altitudes. If we're going ahead with our plan to push her through the upper atmosphere, I must study her in flight myself. Until I do, we can't prove her. Until I've proved her, we can't develop M8 and get in our way into space. Heathly speaking.
I was on the point of calling you. Seagram tells me Carrington fell from the big slipway. This is a bit of a shock. I was talking to him only an hour ago.
Yes, Sir Charles. It was a terrible blow.
Do you think this will hold you up at all?
No, we shan't let it interfere with the work. I shall go ahead with the schedule on phase 2 as I've always planned.
Had you and Carrington agreed on the method of control for these flying tests?
The director and I were almost in agreement about that.
Fine. I'll be down to see you on Thursday.
Thank you, Sir Charles. Good night. We start phase 2 first thing on Thursday morning. Good night, Brian.
I saw your light on, Professor, and... Oh, I'm so sorry. Am I interrupting?
No, come in, Caroline.
These are the specifications you wanted so urgently.
Oh, yes, thanks. Well, leave them on my desk, will you? You better get to bed, Brian. You'll need to keep fresh.
What are you laughing at?
The vampire caring for his victim's health.
Caroline.
I shock you, but it is true. We are all his victims. Very willing victims. But you most of all.
No, that's not true.
My poor Brian, you are very naive, simple. I admire Professor Heatley more than any man I know, as a scientist. But I see him clearly. I'm not blinded by gratitude.
Well, shouldn't I be grateful to him? He's taught me everything. He's trained me, made me his chief assistant. You know, when he found me, I was just
a poor farmer's boy who'd won a Cambridge scholarship. I know. You've told me many times.
Caroline, what's come over you? Has Heatley done something?
No, I tell you, I admire him. I only say how he uses you. Why do you get excited?
Oh, it's you who are getting excited. Of course he uses me. He uses all of us. That's just what we're here for, to help his work.
Yes. And for his work, he does not care how he uses people. It even makes him a little stupid sometimes, this work of his.
Stupid? How do you mean?
Eh bien, for example, the way he tries to stop you seeing me. Tonight you say you will watch me play tomorrow. Immediately he invents some work for you. Just now, as soon as I come in, he sends you to bed like a little boy. If we were in love with each other, that kept us from our work, I could understand. But we are not. And that is why I call him stupid. Good night, Brian. Go to bed and keep fresh.
Caroline.
I'm afraid there's some more bad news. Your hunch was right. I just heard that certain technical information has leaked out. It concerns the estimated performance figures, mainly.
Well, Sir Charles, surely a leakage of information of that sort could only come from someone actually working on M7.
It certainly looks so.
I think I ought to have Lawson down here. I've worked with him before.
He's a good man.
Oh, yes, first rate.
Anything new on Carrington's death?
No, nothing more at the moment.
Well, it certainly looks like an accident. Of course, I can't be absolutely certain.
Well, keep me posted.
Right, we'll talk more tomorrow, sir.
Yes, bye.
Goodbye, sir.
I've always known that half Michael belonged to his work. Since he started on this project, he doesn't seem to have any private life at all. I tried terribly hard to help.
Yes, darling. Perhaps you've tried a little too hard.
Yes. Perhaps I have. I know I ought to be patient. But you see, I'm not very good at sharing anything I love.
Lydia,
Hello, Alex.
I'm sorry to call at this time of night, but Michael's tied up with Seagram. He asked me to drop in on my way back just to let you know he'd be a little late.
Thank you. Won't you have a drink now you're here?
I'd love one.
Whiskey?
Please. Mrs. Heatley.
Mama? No, thank you, dear. I think I'll go to bed. Good night, Mr. Leon.
Night to you.
See you when you come up, Lydia.
All right.
You seem worried, Lydia.
Well, naturally. It was a dreadful thing to happen to that poor man.
You're not really thinking about that poor man. You're thinking about poor Lydia. You're worried because the professor pays more attention to his beloved creation than he does to you. You're afraid of yourself.
Myself?
You're afraid that one day you may lose patience. And then?
Yes.
Cigarette.
No, thank you. I think you'd better finish up your drink and go home. Michael, you'll miss Professor Carrington badly, won't you?
Yes, I shall miss him badly.
Sure you want to come? You needn't play if you don't want to.
Oh, it'll do us good to get out for a while.
So far as we know, he must have slipped off just about here in the darkness and fell on those rocks. The tide was out at the time.
I realized that in a case like this, any inquiries I might make could tread on delicate ground.
Thanks for seeing it that way, Inspector.
But just to make things easier, there's one question I'd like to ask you.
Sure, what is it?
Are you quite certain in your mind that it was an accident? You don't suspect something else?
I always suspect something else. That's part of my job. But I would appreciate it if you could give me a free hand for a couple of days. You see, for one thing, I know the people here. And for another, if it should happen that he didn't die from natural causes, well, if anything like that got out just at the moment, it could do a lot of harm to the work they're trying to do here.
All right, Major. You're on the inside here. I'll leave it to you, but 48 hours, mind.
Thanks, Inspector. I'll keep in touch with you. Hello, Doc. Coroner's man gone?
I just saw him to the gate. He seemed quite satisfied.
Oh, good.
Hello, Inspector. What are you doing here?
Just routine checking.
I'm on my way, Doc.
Oh, can I give you a lift?
No, thank you. I've got the car.
Where are you going?
I said I'd drop in to see Brian Jackson's father. I'm afraid there's not much more to be done for the old man except to make him as comfortable as possible.
You've done a lot for old George Jackson, Doctor.
I'm glad of the chance to be a real doctor for a change. Besides, purely selfishly, it gives me an opportunity of getting out of this place. Any objection, Sam, to my dropping in at the pub on my way back?
Getting quite a habit, Doc.
Did you blame me? See you later.
Well, Dad, I must get back to work now.
Oh, Brian. Come here, lad. I want to be taken downstairs.
The doctor wouldn't allow it, Dad.
Oh, hang the doctor. They're never going to get me down those stairs in a box. I reckon this place weren't built for dying upstairs. And I don't fancy going out through the window like your old granddad did. Rope and tackle they had to use. That's no way for a man to leave his own house. You'll see I get down, won't you?
I will, Dad.
Good lad.
I really must go now. Ah, Dennis.
Hello, Brian. You just off?
Yes, I've got some work to do for Heatley. Goodbye, Dad. I'll see you soon.
How are you, George?
He's a good man, Professor Heatley.
Hi, Lawson. How are things?
Fine, thanks. Any lead yet who he could be?
No, but you know these places, they're difficult. Heaven knows we screen people carefully enough, but we can never find out everything about them. No need to tell you that.
How would you like me to work?
Well, keep clear of the camp. I wouldn't show up there at all. Work around Flimby in the village. We'll keep in touch, okay?
Fine, thanks. Goodbye, Major.
Bye.
Beat me again, Doctor. I don't know, you do it with so little practice. How about a drink on the house?
No, thank you, Jim. I've got to be going. Another drink, boys.
Thank you, Doctor.
Mabel, take 4 more pints when they're ready with you. I've got to be going.
Right, Doctor. I'll bring your change. There you are.
Thank you, Mabel. Good morning.
Excuse me, sir, you left your paper.
Oh, it's all right. I finished with it.
Mind if I have a look?
Certainly, sir.
Thank you. You know, I don't think it's fair that a little thing like you can hit a ball as far as I can.
Hello, Brian.
Hello.
Hello, Brian. I thought you were supposed to be working.
Yes, I am supposed to be, but I thought I'd come and collect you.
Oh, thank you.
If you come at once, we might be able to get back to Port Emily before Michael spots me.
Oh, I'm ready. Don't give him away, Lydia.
I won't. Do you think they know they're in love?
Yes. But I don't think they have admitted it yet. I wonder why some people are so slow about it.
I wonder.
You know, Lydia, there are moments when I'm very glad that I'm not quite such a brilliant scientist as your husband.
Why?
Well, for one thing, I can spare the time to give you lunch. And for another, I've had time to enjoy myself, live a little, and understand people.
Lovely brandy.
Yes, very special. They keep it for me. And I keep it specially for very special occasions. Also, it helps to remind me that there are other things in the world besides Port Amberley.
You have it nicely balanced, haven't you? Life inside the camp and life outside. When you get outside.
One learns a sense of proportion. Port Amberley is not the first camp in which I have survived. Shall we go for a drive? I don't have to get back yet.
Where?
Anywhere you like. I know. Flimby Pier.
I won.
I know that, Monkey. You always win.
Nonsense. It was my superior skill. What shall we do next?
Well, there's not much left, unless you want to have your fortune told.
I don't think so.
Must be wrong.
Alex, I must know what the butler saw.
Lydia, you surprise me.
Come on, we'll find something else.
What the butler saw.
Let me see.
Do look. Well, if that's all the butler saw, I don't think it's... well, doesn't.
I've called this meeting because, as you all know by now, I propose to begin phase 2 at once. We start the first air test at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. We could control the prototype from the control room. But if anything were to go wrong with the responders, we might lose the aircraft altogether. We might lose the results of 5 years' work. For that reason, I shall fly her myself with a co-pilot. Later in phase 2, we will have to do the automatic control tests, but by that time, we hope to have the answers to most of our problems. Any suggestions?
M7's your project, Heathley. She always has been. I'll be guided by whatever you think's best.
Oh, thanks.
I'm very sorry, Heasley.
It's all right, Alex. Well, Ferguson seems to agree with me. What about you, Caroline?
I feel that as it is the first air test of a completely new design, it might be wiser to use ground control.
I see. What are your reasons?
It is the normal practice?
To refrain at all costs from doing anything which has not been done before. This is supposed to be an experimental station.
I agree with Carolyn.
I know you do. Have you any new reason?
No. I've already given you my reasons.
Very well. Alex, do you think the prototype is ready for a piloted test?
Mechanically, yes. I have nothing against it.
And if I were to fly her alone without a co-pilot?
It should make no difference, mechanically. Besides, if anything goes wrong, you can always switch to my control.
If he could switch to your control, what happens if he passes out? After all, auto control is cut in from M7, not from the ground. No, Heathley, you must not fly alone.
Unfortunately, neither Alex nor Ferguson are pilots. And if Brian feels he'd rather not come...
Surely, Brian. Surely now Heathley's decided on manual control. You must help with this test. After all, you are a pilot. He can't go up by himself.
Oh, perhaps not. But I thought the point of this meeting was to discuss plans. It seems they've already been made.
I would remind you, Brian, there's such a thing as loyalty.
I'm sure Professor Heathley would agree that professional integrity comes first.
You would never have had any but for him.
Gentlemen, there's no need to get heated. I'm perfectly willing to go alone.
Michael, let me come with you. I think it will be wise. After all, as the cabin isn't pressurized, we're asking a great deal of the suits.
Well, you've tested them, haven't you? I mean, that's a perfectly acceptable risk in any test flight.
I know, but I'd rather be there
I
in case...
appreciate your offer, Dennis, but whether I go alone or with a co-pilot, I shan't take you on this trip. The next one, perhaps. But this is fundamentally a test of the machine, not the human element. No, either I have my qualified co-pilot or I go alone. I can't afford to have my mind distracted with a lot of other responsibilities.
Exactly. You'll be watching the machine. I want to watch the suits. Besides, I can study the effects on you. I agree with Fergie and Alex. You're right to make this a piloted test. Dead right. But do you realize the physical strain you'll be facing? Every way you look at it, I'm the man to take.
Look, I think we're getting just a little off the point. My job's security, and I don't want to meddle unnecessarily, but some of you disagree on this question, and that involves your safety. That is my business. Why not check with Sir Charles Cruddick before we go any further?
I don't think that'll be necessary, Sam.
I'm sorry, Heathley. I cannot agree unless you have a co-pilot.
Well, Brian?
Brian,
Oh, hello, Carolyn.
why have you changed your mind?
I haven't.
But you agreed to fly with Heasley.
Yes?
Then why?
Because I haven't got that professional integrity that I was so pompous about this afternoon. If I had, I wouldn't go up. I still think the first flying test should be ground controlled, but I was afraid of what the others would think.
What would they think?
That I was worried about my own skin.
You don't mean that. You don't mean the others. You mean Heasley.
Oh, no, I don't. He knows me too well.
But you only care what he thinks.
Of course I do. I don't give a hang about the others.
Brian.
All right, I was afraid of Heathley. I was afraid he might think you influenced me.
And do I?
That's the trouble. You do.
The jets alone give me all the power I need to take her through the barrier and up to around Mach 1.5. But I shall bring in the nuclear motors first. You know as well as I do why I'm rushing into these maneuver margin tests. Before we can complete the autocontrols, we must know her behavior at 4 and 5G and get our rough calculating curves. We've got a new combination of shapes in M7. We might get an uncontrollable flick spin at critical turning G.
Michael, why have you asked me to come here?
Well, as you're going to be in control tomorrow, I thought we'd better check points together.
Points we've been over 100 times already. Why did you send for me?
Well, something that happened this afternoon.
What happened this afternoon?
When you've worked with someone for a long time on a project, you're apt to think of him as a part of that project. You forget that he's a human being with his own private life, his own personal emotions. You forget how strong those emotions can be.
Love, for instance?
Yes, I suppose you could call it a kind of love. Why? Have you guessed what I was trying to say?
I'm not sure yet. What happened this afternoon?
Well, you were there. You saw for yourself.
What I saw?
Yes, at the meeting. Isn't that what you were thinking about?
No. I didn't see much love at the meeting.
You'd call personal loyalty a kind of love, wouldn't you?
Hmm.
And you'd think it wrong for someone to use that loyalty to gain his own ends.
Go on.
You see, Brian this afternoon decided to come as my co-pilot. Not because he was convinced, or because you and the others might think he was scared, but simply out of loyalty to me. I made it impossible for him to refuse.
Yes, Brian. Oh, I know exactly how you feel, but I don't think you need to worry over that. I'm sure you were right. And so were Board and Fergie. Brian might have been influenced by personal loyalty, but much more because he believes in you as a scientist. By the way, why are you telling me about all this?
I suppose because more than anyone else here, you seem quite dispassionate. You're not involved emotionally.
No. Michael, about our personal lives and feelings and what you said just now about forgetting them here. I, too, no, it's not important. It'll keep. Don't you worry about Brian.
Well, thanks, Alex.
Michael, darling, can you open the door? Oh. Am I interrupting?
No, not at all. I was just going. Good night, Michael. Good night, Lydia.
I thought you'd be working late. Brought you some coffee and sandwiches.
Thanks, darling. I was hoping you would. Bless you. Hello? Speaking. Oh, yes. Thanks for reminding me, Fergie. I'll see to it. Right, bye. You're going to have one?
Alex gave us rather a large lunch at the club today. I'm not a bit hungry. He took me into Flemby afterwards.
Thanks.
I hope he wasn't late for the meeting.
No, not really.
Michael, you seem to have so much to worry about just lately. Do you think it would be a good idea for both of us if I went away for a bit?
I'm sorry, darling. What did you say?
It's all right. It was nothing.
I shall have to go down to the slipway again, I'm afraid. Nuisance. Switch the lights out, darling, when you go, will you?
All right, boys. All set?
All okay,
Well,
I'm going to take the usual readings.
will you pay special attention to the stress gauges on this one?
I'll check ground control.
I suppose you'd better.
They are testing ground control, sir.
Okay, Mike 7.
Okay.
Are you ready to start up? Ready. Engine 1.
Mike 7, this is home. Roger.
All right, Brian?
Okay.
Monitors begin plotting.
I told him I'd be down today. I'm surprised he didn't wait for me.
But I thought you'd given him authority to go ahead, Sir Charles.
What?
Hello, Mount. This is Mike 7. I'm climbing to 80,000 feet to begin test.
Okay, Mike 7. She'll be tracking you. Good luck.
Recorders on. Radio 1 locking to transmit. Radio 2 locking to receive. Climbing at 9,000 feet per minute.
Grid position, Echo Bravo, 9154.
Height now 40,000. Climbing speed accelerating.
Test height. Mach 0.91. Increasing speed to pass through barrier. Nuclear motors on. No abnormal control movements. I'm now flying straight and level. Mach 2.8. I'm about to make 4G turn.
Aircraft now turning.
Turn quite normal. Pressure okay in suits. Speed sustained. Maintaining 4G turn. Turning cycle regular. No increase in vibration.
Grid position, Alpha Extra, 1026.
I'm coming out of turn now. I'm now flying straight and level before making 5G turn. Height 81,000, Mach 2.1. I'm about to start 5G turn. Hadn't we better try 4 again? We had no trouble. I want to go straight on. We're very close to maneuver margin at 5. Banking. 5G turn started. Speed sustained. Slight increase in vibration. Turning circles okay for 5G. Symptoms of shock stall. Heavy buffeting. Pressure. I'm taking control. Machine diving. Pressure falling. Still diving. I'm trying to...
Brian, switch to ground control.
This is Craddock.
Switch to ground control.
Make ground control switch.
Make ground control switch.
We've got control, sir.
They're all right now.
What happened? We're both passed out. Lack of pressure. We're on our way back. Ground control. Yes.
It doesn't matter. Oh, Dennis, I thought it was Michael.
I thought I'd come over and tell
Why
you that...
isn't he here yet?
He'll be here in a minute. I just thought I'd warn you that... Oh, there, I frightened you. All I wanted to say was that he's at a pretty bad shaking, but he's all right. Now, I want you to get him to rest for a couple of hours. Give him a good stiff whiskey. He'll be fine.
Thank you, Dennis. You're a dear. Michael.
Hello. Hello, Dennis.
See you later.
Was it very bad?
Yes, it was. Would you have missed me?
Darling.
On the way back, I was thinking about you.
About me?
Yes. I was thinking that lately, M7 must have seemed to you to be a kind of rival. Especially has been in a way. Perhaps that's what makes me behave like an arrogant child sometimes. I do, don't I?
You do, darling. Often. Tell me about her. My rival.
Oh, she isn't really your rival. She's your creation as well as mine. Without you, I could never have made her.
Tell me about her all the same.
You could say that M7 is just another machine. A way of traveling far faster and more safely than ever before. But I've got past the stage where a machine excited me just because it was something new and I'd built it. I suppose I've always had the feeling that in this world, everyone lives just around the corner and just out of sight of everyone else. But M7 can change that. It could make this all one place. I may be simple-minded, but I believe that when that happens, we may learn to trust each other, to live together. And M7 could help us to do it, at least the physical part. She's 3 times as fast as the fastest supersonic aircraft we've got today. She flies so high, you can see the shape of the world. There's no pilot, you know. Only a little man on the ground at a switchboard.
It's terrifying.
It needn't be. That depends on us.
On us?
Yes, you and me, everybody. We're the ones who have to decide how to use her. To destroy or to help ourselves.
Do you wonder I'm a little jealous sometimes? I'd like to have some share in all you're doing.
You have a share, darling, in every minute of it. Without you, there'd be no M7. No me either. And now I'm on the track of something else. Something that can take us right out into space. I've got it in my head, but I can't do it alone.
How long have you been here?
About 5 minutes. I've been tidying up.
Oh. So I see. I wish you'd do this every time I went out on a test.
Oh, Brian. I was so frightened.
Oh, never mind. It's all over now. Look, why don't we go into Flimby tonight and have some dinner? I have to go in and see my old man. Cheer him up to see you. What's the matter now?
Brian, it is about your father. They telephoned just after you had begun the test.
Yes?
He died this morning. I told them I would tell you.
He walked downstairs. That was it, wasn't it?
Yes. They said he was very proud about it. Very happy.
I'll get along to the village. Hello? Jackson speaking. Yes, Sir Charles. I'll come along now. It's Craddock. He wants me in his office. Thanks, Caroline.
O'Brien, I was looking for you. I've seen Craddock. I was expecting an official admonition, but he didn't even give me a dirty look. All he wants is a detailed report for tomorrow morning. I thought we might get down to it now.
Yes, Craddock's just sent for me.
Oh, has he?
I think I know why. My father died this morning while we were up.
I'm sorry.
Thanks. Oh, I think he knew it was going to happen. He wouldn't have been afraid.
I don't believe your father was afraid of anything. I suppose you'll be going down there later on.
Yes. You know the local customs, sort of lying in state in the front parlor. I'll have to say a few words about him to the family and friends.
I'd like to be there, if I may.
Thank you, Michael. Well, I'll see you there.
If Heathley went into that last turn too quickly and the valve was a little sluggish, the necessary increase in pressure need only have been a split second late to have caused unconsciousness under those conditions.
But Brian Jackson didn't lose consciousness till about half a minute later.
Well, Heathley's 10 years older than Brian. That would account for it.
Very well, Doctor. You'll make a more thorough examination. We'll discuss the whole problem tomorrow. I'd like to have all the scientific staff present. That'll be Jackson.
Shall I go, Sir Charles?
No, I'd like you and Sam to hear what I have to say. Come in.
Hi, Brian.
Sam?
I'm sorry to bother you at a time like this, Jackson. I'm sure we all offer you our deepest sympathy in your loss.
Thank you, sir.
What I have to say may come as something of a surprise to you. I've decided to appoint you director.
But surely, Professor Heathley, a senior scientist...
I realize your feelings and I respect them. But that is my decision.
I'm sorry, sir. I can't accept. I've been Professor Heathley's pupil a long time, and I couldn't possibly take a job which made me senior to him.
Let me explain. From now on, my orders are that no further piloted tests are to take place on M7.
That isn't what Heathley's planned.
Exactly. Tell me, Jackson, did you approve the idea of making today's test with piloted control?
No, sir, I didn't.
And you told Heathley so?
Yes. But most of the others were inclined to agree with him.
Nevertheless, our policy in future will be ground control.
Yes, but even now I can't pretend that Heathley is necessarily wrong. It's only my personal opinion.
I realize that. But you must appreciate the most important thing to us is the development of M7. Heathley will continue as chief scientist. It'll be your job to see that our policy is carried out.
Yes, but the whole thing is Heathley's. He created M7. And he's the only man who can design M8.
I know. That's why we can't let him take any chances. Oh?
All right, Sir Charles.
Good. I'll announce the appointment publicly tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
You'll tell Heathley first, won't you?
Naturally. I need hardly add that until then, the whole matter must be treated as highly confidential. Well, gentlemen, I don't think I need keep you any longer. Thank you, Jackson. And good luck.
Could I have another word with you, sir?
Well, of course, Sam. What is it?
Well, I know it's not really any of my business, but this appointment of Brian's, granted he's quite brilliant, but don't you think he's just a little young for such responsibility?
No, it's because of his youth that I appointed him. He'll take instructions from me, and I can trust him to carry out our policy.
I dare say he will. It's just that, well, this information leak has got me to the point where I don't trust anyone.
Who do you suspect?
That's a pretty tough one to answer. But from the nature of the leak, it must be one of our top people. Alex Leon has quite an interesting background on the continent and seems to be paying quite a bit of attention to Mrs. Heathley.
Oh?
There may be some connection, but it's hard to imagine her having any information that he doesn't know already. Then there's Brian and young Carolyn Cartier. There's a definite romance there.
Quite harmless, surely.
As harmless as love can be. His board with such a thick coating of Irish charm that it's practically impenetrable. And Ferguson with an equally thick coating of Scottish bluntness and honesty that might mean anything. It could be any one of them, even Heathley himself. Not an easy job to pick a traitor out of that lot, is it?
Hello, Ted.
Good evening, Doctor.
Hello, Jim. What do you have?
Scotch, please.
2 doubles, please. And have one yourself.
Thank you, Doctor.
You know Professor Heathley?
By name, of course. Glad to see you here, sir.
How do you do?
You've just been saying goodbye to old George Jackson, Jim.
Ah, he was a grand old man. We're going to miss him.
Yes, I'm afraid we're all going to miss him.
Jim? Okay, coming. Excuse me.
Say what?
Thank you. You know, Michael, I wish you'd let me come with you this morning as I asked you. Because it was the suit you had trouble with, wasn't it? I examined the valves afterwards, and they did react a little slowly. If I'd been there, I could have looked after that. You had enough to cope with.
That's true. But in spite of what happened, I learned a lot today. I've decided to continue the piloted tests, and I'd like you to come with me next time I take her up.
Jim?
Sir?
Do you mind if we use your parlor for a few minutes?
Certainly, Doctor. Go right in.
Can I have the same again, please?
Why this sudden need for privacy?
There won't be a next time.
What was that?
There won't be another piloted test. The new director won't sanction it.
New director? Do you mean to say that Craddock has suddenly appointed a new director behind my back? How do you know that? Why hasn't he told me?
Perhaps because he's appointed Brian.
Oh, no, that's ridiculous. He's far too young. He has no authority.
That's what I thought, but I suppose Craddock wanted somebody he could manage.
Besides, he'd never accept.
But he has accepted. I was there. Oh, he was very reluctant. Really, Michael, he was most upset.
Let's get this straight. Brian accepted?
Well, he's young, and of course it's a great thing for him, and I suppose...
Strange. I've always thought of Brian as someone who was completely loyal.
But Michael, Brian isn't important himself. Craddock only appointed him to carry out orders. And his first orders were, from now on, there will be no more piloted tests. By 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, Craddock's orders will be enforced, and M7 will be out of your hands. You learned a lot today, you told me. It may be a long time before you can complete this morning's test and gain the vital information you so nearly had. It may be never. First light's at 5:15, isn't it?
She's full of fuel and reserviced by now. The sentries wouldn't think it unusual. Meet me at the slipway at 5.
Lydia,
Alex.
is the professor in?
No, did you want to see him?
No, I wanted to see you. May I come in?
I'd rather you didn't. Alex, I have an apology to make to you. I behaved very badly to you yesterday afternoon.
I thought you behaved very charmingly to me yesterday afternoon.
Exactly. I'm afraid I, what's called, led you on.
Oh. And I flattered myself that I was doing the leading. Pity.
Alex, you're a darling.
I still wish you meant that. Good night, Lydia.
Good night, Alex. Let you, Michael. Michael? Professor Heathley's office, please. It doesn't matter.
My darling, a few minutes ago I was standing by the window of our sitting room. You were playing the piano. For a moment I stayed there without coming in. There was something I wanted to say to you. Something so simple, really. But I had the feeling that if I walked into the room, I might not find the words. That's why I'm writing to you now. This afternoon, I thought we had found each other again. I hope I'm not too late, darling. Tomorrow, there's something I must do. I think you'd want me to. I love you.
Hello. Seagram speaking. Wilson, what's up? You sure? Right. You know the drill. Operator, give me the main gate and make it quick. Sergeant, have you seen Dr. Bohr during the night? Well, if he tries to leave the camp, detain him and send 2 men over to his quarters right away. I'll meet them there in 3 minutes. Send out a tannoy. Operational crews close up the test stations.
Sergeant! Attention, attention. Security guard.
Sam, what's going on?
That's what I'd like to know. Mike 7, this is home. Oh, dim those lights for me over there, Bruno. Mike 7, do you read? Mike 7, are you receiving me?
Hello, home. This is Mike 7. I'm carrying out tests over southern route. Repeat, southern route.
Say all right. Say you'll track him.
Mike 7, I'm tracking you.
Grid position Golf Kilo 8367.
Control room? Major Seagram?
Seagram here. Oh, all right. Keep looking for him.
Climbing speed accelerating.
Mike 7.
What's happened?
Climbing at normal speed. Responders on.
Has he gone mad?
Let's hope the suits are all right this time. Don't worry. They will be.
When will we be at the right height?
In 30 seconds. Then we go through the barrier.
Where are they now?
80,000.
Hello, Holmes. This is Mike 7. I'm increasing speed to pass through barrier. Nuclear motors off. Here we go. Now we'll show them. Hello, home. I'm commencing first turn, 4G.
Grid position Delta Extra, 1471.
4G turn successful. Stand by for 5.
Wish him good luck, Alex.
Good luck, Mike 7.
I'm starting turn now.
Aircraft now turning.
Turn quite normal. Pressure okay in suits. Speed sustained. Turn completed. Everything okay.
He's done it.
Order him to return to base immediately.
Mike 7, return to base immediately. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm returning.
Don't take any notice of them, Heathcliff. This is the greatest opportunity a man like you has ever had. We'll do this together, you and I. We've always understood each other, haven't we? We're not going back.
Oh?
Don't worry, we're not running away. This is our chance. You're coming with me. Now we'll show them. We'll show those little people at Port Amberley they can't control men like us. I've been promised complete control from now on. We'll make the decisions. Where we're going, the power will be ours. All ours.
And where's that?
Steer due east. Pick up the north coast of the Mediterranean, then steer 050.
Hello, home. I'm steering due north.
I said due east, Michael.
Tell him to return to base.
Mike 7.
Return to base. Mike 7, return to base.
Carry out orders. Carry out orders.
I could fly her if I had to, you know. But I should hate to use this. Because I want you as well, Mike. Drop your gun. What are you doing? You kill us both! It's up to you, Board. Drop your gun.
Losing height at maximum rate.
Hello, Mike 7. This is home.
Are you receiving me? Hello, Mike 7, this is home. Are you receiving me?
$27,000.
Keep trying. Heathley, have you still got control?
Heathley, can't you switch to ground control?
This is home. Answer me.
Answer me! Heathley!
Pull out, man! Pull out!
Can't you control it with this?
He has to give us control first. I don't think he can.
There must be something we could do. Something. Michael!
Lydia? Lydia, you there? Lydia!
Tell him to steer due north. The call sign is home.
Michael.
This is home. Steer due north. Due north.
Thank you, home. I'm coming back. I'm coming back to you.